Building an app from scratch in 5 minutes with AI isn't a reality for enterprise developers. We don't get a blank slate. We work on complex living systems that keep businesses running. So today, I want to show you how I use Antigravity 2.0 to write, test, and refactor features inside an enterprise code base. I tackled the planning stages in a previous video, so today is all about letting the agent loose on the code base. Welcome back. Since Antigravity 2.0 dropped, I've been using it daily to build features and ship production code inside a massive enterprise code base. This video isn't about vibe coding demo apps. It's a curated, battle-tested digest of the tactics that actually worked for me and the lessons I wish I knew before I started. Because Antigravity 2.0 is agentic, it edits files and runs loops on its own. That means you have to stop being a prompter and start being a coach. To keep that mindset, I use a physical stand-in for the agent. Meet Ducky, our digital intern. To get the most out of an intern like Ducky, you need a clear playbook. So today, I've got 7 tactics that helped me coach my Antigravity 2.0 agent to ship new features with confidence inside my complex code base. Let's start with encoding your team's DNA. Tip number 1, encode your development practices directly into custom skills. I didn't want to repeatedly remind Ducky to write clean code, use specific design patterns, or follow team standards. So, for example, if your organization uses test-driven development, write a dedicated TDD skill for Ducky. Don't download any random skill from the internet. Skills are just simple markdown files, so they're easy to write yourself. Moving on to number 2, create a paper trail. I love how Antigravity creates implementation plans before making large updates to your code. But you don't have to stop there. You can also ask it to generate other documents, like test plans and architecture specs. These are highly interactive. You can jump right in and add your comments to steer Ducky before he writes a single line of code. And here is the pro tip. Save these generated plans right into your branch. Ducky becomes smarter by reading them. These files may even help the person reviewing your code. Once your pull request is approved and merged, you can delete them. Tip number 3 is a big time saver. The self-correction loop. Look, every engineer knows that a tighter feedback loop is the holy grail. And do you know how I got the tightest feedback loop possible? I took myself out of it. Humans are slow. We get distracted by Reddit, we grab snacks, or we overthink a stack trace. Ducky doesn't. To let him fly, just tell him what tools you use. Your linter, type checker, unit tests, integration tests, or golden screenshots. Drop those commands into your project rules, or a subdirectory README file, or bake them into a skill. Once Ducky knows how to grade his own work, give him a task and go have a cup of tea. He'll run the tests, read the errors, fix the code, and iterate on his own until everything passes. And you don't have to lift a finger. Moving on to tip number 4. Give the agent eyes. When I'm working on front-end features or complex UI layouts, I noticed that I couldn't just let Ducky rely on text logs to know if a button looks right. This is where you use Antigravity's built-in browser tool. Don't let Ducky blindly guess. Ask him to test the app and he will open a browser. By using the app, Ducky can spot broken layouts. He fixes the front-end bugs before you ever pull up the app locally, making sure the UI works well before reporting back to you. And if Antigravity doesn't open the browser, you can force it by adding /browser to your prompt. And a side note here, many corporate setups are locked down and don't let the browser tool run. No problem. Here you can see I'm entering an instruction and pasting a screenshot in. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Tip number 5 is all about reclaiming your time. Look, Some things in an enterprise codebase just take a long time to run. For example, my app has some heavy integration tests and end-to-end browser tests that can chew up a lot of my time. You don't want Ducky to freeze and block your momentum while a slow test suite runs. Instead, take advantage of Antigravity 2.0's ability to run these as async tasks. By kicking these slow tasks off in the background, you keep your workspace free. You can keep writing code or prepping your next task while Ducky handles the heavy lifting in the background. Now, once you have those background tasks running, tip number 6 helps you step back and visualize the architecture. Did I tell you that I love mermaid diagrams created from Markdown text? Well, I do. And Antigravity 2.0 can now create and display those diagrams right inside the tool. By the way, I always wondered why they were called mermaid diagrams. So I looked it up. It turns out that when the author was writing the code for it, his kids were watching the Little Mermaid movie in the background. So when he needed a name for the library, that's just what he picked. Anyway, I use this new viewer constantly for 2 specific things. First, I use it to catch lapses in my own architecture. I'll have Ducky generate a diagram showing things like which module calls which other module, making it easy to spot circular dependencies or a module calling another module in the wrong layer of the architecture. Second, I ask Ducky to generate diagrams explaining how new features work. Then I can paste the markup for those right into my pull request description on GitHub. And that way, my coworkers can get a visual overview of the changes during code review. And that brings us to the last tip, number 7. Take the load off your code reviewer. Look, with AI, writing code has become easy, but reviewing the code has become harder. So I've started taking a load off my human reviewers by pre-reviewing and refactoring my code before I even submit a pull request. You can create reusable skills for this. For example, you could have one skill that checks for security holes, another that ensures the code is using the right idioms, and a third that ensures you're using the same libraries as the rest of your code base. Here I ran a report to check if the code was up to our organization standard and got a compliance report. Once Ducky gives you the feedback, use him to refactor ruthlessly until all the reviews come up clean. Because with Antigravity, refactoring is easier than it has ever been. Let's use that to our advantage. I spend at least 50% of my development time refactoring with the agent so I can send clean code to my reviewers. With these 7 tactics, you're no longer treating Ducky like a glorified autocomplete box. You're managing Antigravity to maintain real production-ready standards across your workflow. And these are easy to do. It's just text files, most of it. You can start today. But I'm really curious to hear how you're handling this tool in your projects. Are you using Antigravity 2.0 on an established codebase? What are your favorite tips? Are they the same as mine or are they different? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. See you in the next one, and thanks for watching.